Morning, Raptorfreak. Alexiot's here. Sunday morning, Sunday special report. We were joking this past week at different times about dumpster fire power rankings. And I just had a great idea. I was like, you know what? I should do this. I get so angry when I see the ESPN power rankings for the NBA and how they malign and shortchange the Raptors all the time on that. I'm like, I want to make my own power rankings. Good morning to I Am Shanky. Good morning to Tom Duke. Good to see you here this morning. Today's going to be a little bit different. It's all quiet on the Western Front as far as the Kevin Durant trade stuff. Nothing's happened still yet, and everything is really kind of in a weird calm before the storm kind of place. I really do feel, from what I've heard in the last day since yesterday's live stream, that the Raptors are playing hardball. That Scotty Barnes is not on the table in any kind of way to be going anywhere, and that we're keeping him. And that's something we should be very happy about. And we want to do that, seriously. So this is good. But yeah, nothing so far. And in fact, the thing that kind of happened last night that kind of dust up more is straight up Kyrie Irving for Russell Westbrook deal between the Nets and the Lakers, which would mean Kyrie would be reunited with with LeBron, and Russell would be reunited with Kevin at least until he got dealed. So it's so funny, the carousel of toxic players and which way they will go and stuff like that. Very interesting. Now, there was a Scotty Barnes sighting here in the greater Toronto area last night. Somebody on Twitter posted a picture of herself in a Shoppers Drug Mart in the GTA with Scotty. And Scotty was on a scooter. He was riding around the Shoppers Drug Mart on a scooter, she said. And she told him like some really nice words of encouragement and stuff during this trade time and stuff like that. And it's tough. This is the reality of the NBA and the business. And hopefully Scotty's weathering all this craziness and maybe some of the dumb things being said on social media real easy. And in some ways maybe he thinks it's great. Like he's thriving on it. He thinks it's fun because he's actually in the NBA and he gets to be bandied around with big names like Kevin Durant. Like that's a dream to a young kid. He's only 20. He's a rookie. He's seen Kevin Durant play for so many years, and now he's in trade talks with his name in it. It's got to be a little surreal. And it's got to be a little bit weird to Scotty, but I think that he's enjoying this whole process. And I think ultimately what we're going to find when this all is settled is that the Raptors showed true loyalty to Scotty Barnes, and we kept him here. That this is going to be a real test of this. And that when it's done, he'll still be here and he'll feel like, Masai is really looking out for me and he cares about me. So that is awesome. Good morning to Nishani. Happy Sunday to you. And good morning to Monique, superfan Monique Lawrence. So good to see you guys this morning. Now, today's subject is very interesting. Like I've done a power rankings yesterday. I figured it all out yesterday, thinking very logically and stuff like that. I want to present it to you guys. This will be my first ever Raptorfreak NBA dumpster fire power rankings. Because listen, in some ways, these power rankings that ESPN puts out there, it's just perception. It's just what these people think. Like right now, there's idiots out there in Las Vegas that are putting really high stakes on the Lakers to win it all again next season. Like, where do they get this information? Where are they finding this reason to think that the Lakers are going to be challenging for a championship? Oh, because they have LeBron James that just automatically makes it? No, come on. So much is about perception. But the thing that I noticed this year, because at the beginning when I started this channel, I talked a lot about how toxicity and problems within franchises and organizations really do matter. That they really cause a team's season to go off the rails. And we saw so many good examples of that from the last season. So with this power rankings of dumpster fires, I want y'all to know that there's two different kind of things that can get you high on this power rankings. One is absolutely a toxic environment with your team. A bad front office, a bad relationship with players fighting, players acting out, doing any of that kind of stuff will get you more of toxic points in the dumpster fire rating. Now, also, this factored into this is how good the team is. Like if the team is lost for years and years and years, that is kind of a dumpster fire. So also that is factored into it. They could have good management. Well, maybe they're a little inept, but they may be working towards the right direction or something like that. That's all factored into this. So before I present these power rankings, I want y'all to you can tell me your opinions of what you think and who you think. If you disagree with me or something like that, you can go ahead and chime in and tell me how you disagree and what your opinion of this is and stuff like that yourself. But it really is me and my perception of the teams around the NBA and which teams are healthiest and which teams have serious problems in their organization. And that's what this is all about today. So we'll get started right now. Rahul is here. Good to see Rahul. How come Otto's contract hasn't been revealed? I'm worried that he's not an official Raptor. Good morning. Don't worry about that, Rahul. They wouldn't do all this. Like Woj wouldn't go out there and put it there. This is happening. It has been revealed. We've seen the money to a degree. I believe it's like similar to Thad's deal, that it's right around the same amount of money. It's like maybe 8 or 9 million a year for 2 years is what I have seen, Rahul. I know that they haven't been broadcasting it or putting it all over the place, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Some people have joked that the Raptors are like hiding their information and what they're doing, like the government would hide nuclear codes, the way that they're so secretive about their offseason and their front office moves. I love it. I love it. That's the kind of reputation we want for a front office. And that factors into the dumpster fire rankings, that we're a very, very in-house, no leaks kind of franchise. And that gives us a really I'm going to go through it. All right, let's see. Monique's saying Canada back in action tonight. Okay, Virgin Islands tonight. It's not here. It's in Virgin Islands, I believe. Let's go get it, Canada. Finish this, get the 6 in a row, and boom, we're on our way to the Olympics in France, Paris, France. Let's keep going, Nick Nurse and Team Canada. I love it. I love it. Hopefully I can watch this game. I wasn't able to watch the last one. All right, let's start this rankings off, guys. Now, you don't want to be number one on this ranking, obviously, because that means you're the number one dumpster fire in the league. And this past season, I'm really got to give this team number one on the dumpster fire power rankings because it was absolutely a phenomenal failure. It may have been one of the biggest failures ever in the history of the NBA as far as a team and what they were supposed to do and expectations and what they actually got. And that is obviously the Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, number one on the dumpster fire power rankings is the Lakers. The Lakers season last year was disappointing, was a failure, it was humiliating, it was ugly. It wasn't, the commentators on all the TV shows are saying, why are we watching the Lakers? Because they're such garbage. And that when you have that kind of talent on a team and it's such a failure, that is a dumpster fire. That they have a dumpster fire as far as like their GMing and how they're doing things in their front office. They have a dumpster fire because of LeBron James and his ego and his controlling of the team. They have a dumpster fire because of Russell Westbrook hanging around and being Russell. They got a dumpster fire because of Anthony Davis being hurt all the time, stuff like that. So the number one dumpster fire on the power rankings is the Lakers. And this could change this season. Like they could go down in the rankings because they actually get a little bit more functional and less dysfunctional. And I fully expect that they can't be as bad as they were last year, but I still don't expect them to be a title contender. I think that they still need to work out some things and stuff like that, especially if we figure out what happens here with Kyrie and Russell and different things like that, how the shakeup happens. So this ranking isn't necessarily which teams I think is the best and the worst. It's not that I think the Lakers will be the worst team this year. It's just that their team is the most toxic out of all the teams in the league. Number one on the list, the Lakers. And I have the top five are considered a toxic level. I have a whole color scheme in my chart, and they're the red toxic level. The Lakers number one. And number two is the Brooklyn Nets, y'all. It's got to be. It's got to be after this season. Look at Kyrie and the way he acted with the vaccine stuff and how he hurt the team. And then the whole thing with James Harden in the middle of the season and him leaving. And now Ben Simmons is there, and that's a mess. And now they all want to leave. And the Nets are just a mess. They are a mess. So the number two dumpster fire in the league is the Brooklyn Nets. And it's funny because these are the two big super teams that everybody thought would be the best and baddest in the last couple of years. Well, they've been absolute failures. And they're breaking up the band in Brooklyn also. at this point. So number two on the dumpster fire list is Brooklyn. So we got Lakers and Brooklyn so far on the list. Number three is, and this is kind of honorary. This is something that a team that has been in the top of the dumpster fire power rankings for many, many, many years. In fact, this may be partly a lifetime achievement award for this team, the New York Knicks. Yes, the New York Knicks are my number three on the dumpster fire list. That they've been a dumpster fire for so long, they can't find their way out of the fire. That they're going to try and do different things like get Jalen Brunson and shake things up. Well, they tried Kemba Walker last year, and how did that go? Nothing ever seems to go right for them. And it's different things. The dumpster fire of New York really is started by James Dolan. That the owner of the team really sets the tone of just bad stuff for that team. And then the general manager and, like I said, team president Leon Rose, I have no confidence in them at all, and the moves that they make or the decisions they make, or even staying consistent or trying to keep those moves going. It's like somebody said that Mitchell Robinson recently is the first New York Knick that signed like a second contract since like somebody crazy like 10 years ago, 10 or 15 years ago, that they haven't been able to keep any of their young players in New York. That's a real dumpster fire. And this is a good one because New York has definitely been, you can ask Knicks fans. Their team has been a dumpster fire for a while. So number one, Lakers. Number two, Nets. Knicks, number three. And that is really kind of a lifetime achievement award also for the Knicks as being a dumpster fire. Oh my gosh. Monique saying, she's saying Nets want the Raps to fix their problems. No thanks. Yeah, we're not here to fix everybody's problems, whatever team you are. We're going to get to some of them in a sec. Monique's saying we still should get Wayne Ellington. I don't know. We have too many players on our roster right now. It's like, where's the room? All right, in the top five in the highly toxic level at number four, this is the high riser. This is the late Johnny come lately to the top of the dumpster fire list. It's the Charlotte Hornets, y'all. Of course, the Charlotte Hornets are the fast rising dumpster fire of the league with Miles Bridges with the domestic violent assault recently, and they're cutting ties with them, with Montrezl Harrell getting caught with 3 pounds of marijuana in Kentucky, with the coach of Kenny Atkinson declining the job in Charlotte after all and stuff like that. Charlotte, you are a dumpster fire, and you are number 4 on the dumpster fire power rankings at this point, right behind those 3 really big dumpster fires in the league. So Charlotte, congratulations. You've risen in the power rankings for dumpster fires since the season ended, and you're number 4 right now. Number 5, a highly toxic level of dumpster fire also is the classic, another lifetime achievement award for dumpster fires, but on the West Coast, the Sacramento Kings. And now this could get better for them. Like, honestly, this season, they could go down in the dumpster fire rankings, which is good. You want that. But we'll have to see. It really has to do with them showing any kind of like knowing what they're doing with the front office, because I felt like the Kings front office has been inept for so many years. They haven't built anything right. They let guys go. They go through coaches so quickly. They're a joke of the league. It's like the Clippers used to be the joke of the league, the butt of the jokes, like in the 80s and the 90s, but they're not anymore. It's now the Kings. The Kings have taken over that kind of like, well, at least we're not the Kings kind of joke in the league. And so they're number 5 on the list. We got Lakers, Brooklyn, New York, Charlotte, and Sacramento. Top 5 dumpster fires in the league right now. Oh, yeah, there we go. All right, now we're getting to the next level. The next 5, I'm calling them the bad level of dumpster fire. They're not total, like, toxic, crazy-ass dumpster fires like the 5 teams I just named, but they're teams that are in a bad place and that they are kind of a dumpster fire on the down low. And the number 6 one is a very recent riser on the dumpster fire power rankings, and it's Utah. Utah Jazz are a dumpster fire right now. They are cleaning house. They started when Quinn Snyder refused coming back, and they got a new coach. It started with Joe Ingles getting traded, and now Rudy Gobert's gone. This team's going to be bad next season. They're going to try and move Donovan Mitchell. And it's not that I think that the Utah Jazz is a very toxic place or a really bad team or badly managed. It's just that they're setting up to tank, and that they're going to be a dumpster fire because they're going to lose a lot. So that's kind of why I'm doing this. Is they're a dumpster fire because they're unloading all their players and they're about to go from being a playoff team to being a non-playoff team this year. So it's not necessarily that they have a toxic problem or major problems on their team in their front office or anything like that. It's just that they're deciding to tank and they're getting rid of all their good assets. So get ready for them to be a dumpster fire this year. Utah Jazz. Hey, Sue, good to see you, Sue. It's been a bit. So happy to see you. I hope you're having a good July so far. So there you go. Number 6 on the dumpster fire rankings is Utah. And it's currently because of the mode of tanking that they're going into. And number 7 is another team doing the same thing. It's the San Antonio Spurs. I love the San Antonio Spurs. Listen, they have good front office. They have a good coach. They have good culture. But they are choosing to be a dumpster fire this year by going the tanking route. Getting rid of DeJounte Murray and sending him to Atlanta just signaled that, and that they are ready to lose a lot this year. So, unfortunately, San Antonio, you are pretty high on the dumpster fire ratings this season. So, for what I see, but who knows? We could be pleasantly surprised or something. So, they're number 7. Number 8 is the Phoenix Suns, guys. And it's crazy that the Phoenix Suns are so high on the dumpster fire ratings after having the best season in the NBA as a record last season. Well, it all came apart real quick. Like, listen, all right, there are partly dumpster fire tendencies about Phoenix Suns because of their ownership and their creepiness and the sexual, kind of harassment that was going on in the front office and stuff like that. That is part of the dumpster fire I'm talking about. Also, it's the DeAndre Ayton situation. That this situation where he got in a fight with Monty Williams and he can't be back on the team. That's toxic, and that is part of a factor that leads to a dumpster fire. So Phoenix, you're number 8 on the dumpster fire power rankings right now because of the Ayton situation, because your front office has pervs in it, and also because you guys kind of are in a bad place with Ayton. Really, that Ayton thing is bad. And then once again, you guys failed in a major way in the playoffs, and now you guys are kind of searching your soul in a weird place. And you're real thirsty for Kevin Durant right now. So this is all part of why I put you guys at 8 for a dumpster fire, because in a way there's some bad stuff happening in Phoenix and they're just trying to get a life preserver and get some help all of a sudden by getting Durant. All right, number 9 on my dumpster fire power rankings is Portland Trailblazers. And it's a similar thing to Phoenix. They had really bad front office issues. Like there's some toxic people in the front office there. There's also, I don't know what they're doing. Like they have no rhyme or reason to their team building. Like I don't see their logic in what they're doing. Like letting go of CJ McCollum and then like what they're trying to retain everybody else and keep the same core. It's like, what are you trying to do, Portland? Are you trying to rebuild around Dame with a new cast? Or are you just like, I don't understand it. And the way that they've gone after OG in the last couple of weeks is so desperate and thirsty. It makes me feel like they're a dumpster fire. That the way that Portland has been engaging in trade talks and going after people left and right, they just seem so freaking desperate that makes me think that there's fire in the dumpster. So Portland, you are in the top 10 of dumpster fires in the league right now at number 9. And it's partly because you're desperate, partly because your front office is kind of skeezy. And also your moves are really not making any sense. And they're kind of like, I don't know. I don't understand you guys. You're kind of weird. I like Portland. I want to like Portland. They're a franchise that I don't hate. It's just that you're not being run very well and stuff like that. So let's see. Tom Duke saying how they wanted OG and Gary Trent for Rudy Gobert. Crazy. Yo, Gary. And Monique saying NBA Africa top 75, something to mention. Yeah, they had top 75 moments for NBA Africa. That's interesting. Rank Scrub saying Lakers should just trade LeBron for Kyrie and as many Nets picks as they can. Loser organizations flock together. Rank Scrub. Yeah, Lakers number 1 on my list. Tom Duke saying Dame must be making the calls. Another superstar that gets whatever he wants. Yeah, maybe that is why it is that he wants to stay and he's making the calls. I don't know. If he was making the calls, you'd think he would have kept the call McCollum on the team because that guy, he really liked playing with him and they had a really good second nature. So I don't know if that's true, Tom, because to me, I think that Lillard would have wanted McCollum around as much as possible and that him leaving wasn't necessarily something that made him happy. All right, let's go. Keep the final top 10 dumpster fire team in my rankings is the Washington Wizards. And I put the Wizards here because a lot of it's mainly because of their season this past year. That I knew they were a dumpster fire at the beginning of the year. I called them out on it, and they proved me right. That they had to do a lot of midseason trades like the Montrezl Harrell, the trade with Dallas with Kristaps Porzingis coming to Washington and stuff like that. The thing about Washington's dumpster fire is that I have no faith in their front office. That I don't think that they deal with like on a big time level in the NBA, that they're dealing with a very small time level, that they don't acquire very good players, that they're very middling in all kinds of different ways all around in their organization, that they don't really strive for excellence, that they just kind of are okay with meh. And that's really Washington Wizards kind of dumpster fire is like they're kind of a meh kind of team in the league and stuff like that. And they don't really excel or do anything crazy or amazing or anything. So that's why I put Washington at number 10. They kind of got a bad level of dumpster fire toxicity. But they could get a little better this year and they could fall out of the really bad part. Now, the next five, I call it this is a negative level of dumpster fire, but they're not as bad and it's not toxic like the top five. Number 11 on the list, and these are teams that have been bad the last couple years, but could be better because of their draft picks and the way they're growing and stuff like that with the young core. And the number 11 team is the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets have been toxic for different reasons in the recent past years. James Harden, John Wall, things like that. Russell Westbrook, even. They've had all these toxic guys come pass through, but now they're gone. And it could be that this team starts to get somewhere with something, but it could be also that they continue to just be this young team that just sucks and loses a lot. So until we see whether Houston is showing any progress to win, I'm going to put them pretty high on these dumpster fire rankings because they have been a dumpster fire as far as never winning any games the last couple years. Houston's definitely on this list higher because of their record and how little they win. So they're number 11. Next is Oklahoma City Thunder. I've got them kind of similar as Houston. They're a team that have lost a lot of games, but they have a lot of young talent and they could get better. They could fall down the power rankings of dumpster fires by the end of it. So it could be very interesting to see what happens with them. Once again, I'm on the books as saying Chet Holmgren's going to be a bust, that I don't think he's going to be a good NBA player, that he's going to get pushed around. The physicality is going to make him not as good as they think he should be at number 2 pick. And, I love SGA, obviously, with Team Canada and the stuff he's doing right now. Lou Dort, these are great Canadian players. They're good. They're the hope for Oklahoma City Thunder for them to fall in the dumpster fire rankings. But they really have to have a better record, and they have to show consistently that they can win better with that young core. And they haven't done that yet. So they're still in a negative level, not neutral and not positive yet, but they could get to it. So there's still kind of a negative thing to that. Let's see. Jimmy Pope's here. Good morning to Jimmy. And Sue saying that she thinks that the Blazers overpaid Nurkic. Yeah, I could see that. That deal was a little big. Monique saying, was anyone on Twitch yesterday? No, nobody was on Twitch yesterday. Everybody's been very busy, it seems like. I'm expecting Scotty to be on Twitch again soon. But that's interesting that he's back in Toronto. I'm glad to see that he's back here from California and he's here with us right now, just in case anything crazy with this Durant thing happens. Rahul saying, I think there is a 3-team trade between the Nets, the Suns, and the Jazz. Okay, from the front office hotline, that is kind of what I've heard too also, that there's a 3-team trade going on possibly between the Nets, the Suns, and the Jazz, and that the Raptors have been kind of possibly involved in this, but not really. Like in some ways, they're like feeling it out and seeing if there's something to take advantage of. But I don't think anybody's liking what the Raptors are telling them as far as what they want for what they're going to give. And that they're saying, this, we want more from you, Raptors. Well, no, you're not going to get it because listen, once again, as we said yesterday, we're in the power leverage. We have the leverage on our side. And we don't have to do anything. It's only like we pull the trigger only if it absolutely benefits us. And the other teams know that they can't fleece us. So that may be part of what reason why we're not as active in it. But we are still a possibility because we're a really attractive trade partner with Brooklyn. for Kevin Durant. So yeah, that's interesting. All right, let me keep going with the rankings here. Number 13 on my list that has a negative level of dumpster fire is the Philadelphia 76ers. I wanted to possibly give them a little bit better of a ranking. Like I had them higher in the ranking before, but I'm thinking, because of Harden, like doing what he's doing with his salary to help the team, and it seems like they're making some good moves this offseason, that, maybe they are moving away from a little bit of the dumpster fire that they were moving towards last season. The things with Ben Simmons really did cause a dumpster fire in Philadelphia. And then maybe they're putting the fire out this summer. So even though I have them in a negative level of dumpster fire at 13 in my power rankings, I think that they could actually drop this season if they show a functional franchise in different ways. Now, Daryl Morey and James Harden, to me, both are indicative of being dumpster fires, like on their organization. But James is going to be on his best behavior, and Daryl Morey is making sound moves. Then maybe I'll give him a break at this point and stuff like that. So, all right, let me keep going. Indiana Pacers are number 14 on my dumpster fire list. And it's really not because the organization's poorly run. It's more because they're in a bad place. That last season they were really bad, that they had a point in the season where they had to just throw their hands up and say, this team is not going to work. We need to completely do something totally different. And they started shopping guys like Sabonis and Miles Turner. And now they've been moving a lot of their big players like Malcolm Brogdon and stuff like that. They're going to be a new team, and they're going to be a young team. So in a way, they're going to be kind of similar to Houston and Oklahoma City this year. The Indiana Pacers, at least to me, that they're going to be very young and they're going to be a different look and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to see with that. And then number 15 on my power rankings of dumpster fires is the LA Clippers. And the reason why I put the Clippers here is because in some ways with Kawhi and the way things have gone there the last couple of years with the injuries and Steve Ballmer just kind of buying talent and not really having a rhyme or reason to put them together or philosophy. And then the team doesn't work because they don't really make sense. This has been the Clippers since Leonard has gotten there. And I feel like it's still going to be the same way. But this is a point where if Leonard comes back healthy and he plays really well and they get better, they could drop in the power rankings on this dumpster fire power rankings. But John Wall showing up as is a whole other question about what kind of dumpster fire this could change into. The Clippers have always been a dumpster fire historically. That Donald Sterling as the owner was so toxic and that they lost so much that this is actually one of the best places that they've been in my rankings in my head for dumpster fires over decades. That where they are right now, they have a chance to flip into the positive side this year, but it's got to all go right. There's can't be any kind of weirdness between Kawhi or anybody or John Wall or anything like that. Should be very interesting to see. And I don't know if they'll be that good or anything like that. We'll have to see. Yuta was practicing his Raptors gear on IG yesterday. I feel bad for Yuta. I don't know what's going to happen with him. Seymour saying, yo, Canada versus France live right now. How are you not watching it? We're down 12-4. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Yeah, I'm not going to watch all of the Global Jam or all the different Canada games right now. There's just so many. They're playing all the time in all different places. G saying, did I see Otto's contract? I didn't see it specifically. If you saw it, G, put in the parameters of it. Rahul and I were talking about it earlier. He's worried that he doesn't think he's actually on the team because he hasn't seen the numbers. So if you know the numbers, G, go ahead and put them. I think it's similar to Thad's deal that he's going to make around $8 million a year for 2 years, something like that. I think that's what it is. All right, keeping on going with my power rankings, we got the top 15, the worst teams in the league as far as like dumpster fires, as far as I say. And I'll just go through them real quick. My top 15 are the Los Angeles Lakers, Brooklyn Nets, New York Knicks, Charlotte Hornets, Sacramento Kings, Utah Jazz, San Antonio Spurs, Phoenix Suns, Portland Trailblazers, Washington Wizards, Houston Rockets, Oklahoma City Thunder, Philadelphia 76ers, Indiana Pacers, and LA Clippers. Those are my top 15. Now we go into the next five. I call them the neutral level of dumpster fires. They're not really good, positive teams with their front office, but they're not really that bad or like dumpster fires at this point. But we'll have to see how it goes. And number 16 is Minnesota Timberwolves. And this is really because of this huge move that they made with Rudy Gobert, that this is a gamble. And that right now they're in the neutral zone for a dumpster fire, but they could easily fall into a dumpster fire realm very soon and quickly. And we're thinking that that's probably what's going to happen, that this won't be a success, this Twin Tower experiment in Minnesota, and that it's going to turn into a dumpster fire. So that's why I put them at 16, just at the neutral spot, but really close to maybe falling into a bad place. But we'll have to see how the experiment goes before I declare them a dumpster fire. Now, Orlando Magic is the next team on my dumpster fire power rankings at 17. And this is really for a crew losing over the last few years. I think that the Magic are doing smart things with their team and that they are trying to build something with their young players. And there is rhyme or reason to a lot of stuff that they're doing. So there is some functionality with their team. It's just that they have a culture of losing from the last few years and stuff like that. So they have to shake that losing culture and kind of like get some new gains from their very young developing players. And if they do, they could get better. And they're kind of in a similar place as Detroit with me, as far as like they could go either way. They could be a really shitty team this year, but they could also be a competing team this year, and possibly like a play-in team or an early like an 8th seed or something like that in the East. So that's where I kind of see it with that. As he's saying, apparently Otto is making $3 million a year. Seems wrong. Maybe someone's throwing out fake news. Yeah, that seems wrong. I think that it's more likely that he's taking most of the MLE, and that I think what they said is they had 2 million left over. So that would make me think that he's making around 8 million. Seymour's saying 18-4. We're down bad, but still early. This is the under, guys. So France is a good team. Like, that's the thing, Seymour. France has a good program, and their young players could be better than our young players. We'll have to see. Keep on going with the dumpster fire, guys. Number 18 on my list for possible, like, they're kind of neutral level of dumpster fire, but could go either way, is the Miami Heat. And normally Miami would be in the top, like at the bottom of the power rankings. I would put them very, very low because they're a very good organization and they usually have a lot of good things going. But there's some cracks all of a sudden in the last couple months, whether it's the fight with Jimmy Butler and Eric Spoelstra in the timeout, whether it's Pat Riley insulting Kyle Lowry, whether it's different players kind of wanting to leave, like PJ Tucker. There's something going on in Miami that isn't exactly right. And that's why I put them in the middle of the rankings, that they could go either way, that this season could be a dumpster fire for the Miami Heat. And part of it could have to do with Kyle Lowry and how he feels about how he got treated this summer and what's happening on the team and different things like that. We know Kyle can pout and can be very, very cantankerous and tough to deal with on the team with his personality. So let's see what happens with this. Is he pissed off at Pat Riley? Is this what might happen? That Miami could go in the direction of being a dumpster fire this year, but they're historically a good run franchise that it has a lot of good cohesion and good stuff in it. So it's weird that they're there. They should be up near us and with Golden State and those other teams that are very functional, because that's normally where they are and stuff like that. So Tom Duke saying Otto's Canadian wife has to be thanked for getting him up north. Interesting fact: Otto's uncle was 6'7" power forward in Australia, and an NBL champion, and how now a well-respected middle school principal. Otto Porter's whole family is really good, celebrated athletes. His sisters, his uncles, his dad. Everybody in his family has played sports and has excelled and won championships all over the place. And Otto himself is the most successful out of all the people in his family as an athlete. Now, the other thing about what you said, Tom, is Otto's Canadian wife. I'm not even sure who she is. I tried to do research on her. And there's a girl that he used to date named Jacqueline, but she is not Canadian. And there's all this social media pictures of him with her, but she's from Ohio and she's American. So I'm wondering if he's with somebody new and he married a new woman and she's totally different than this woman. Because I've tried to figure out who this woman is that's Canadian, that's married to Otto, and I have not been able to figure it out. Because the woman on the social media with him is this Jacqueline Humphrey lady. She's American. She's not Canadian. So I'm trying to figure out what this mystery of his Canadian wife and who she is and stuff like that. And real quick, Monique saying Golden State Warriors fans still sat on Twitter. Laugh out loud. Gonna love it. Has he even arrived yet? I don't think Otto's in Toronto yet. No. And news and notes, Coloco in LA working out last night. Yeah, Coloco's just going to work out in Beverly Hills in California before the Las Vegas Summer League. He's not even going to come to Toronto before. He's just going to stay in the States and meet up with the team in Vegas. So he won't be in Toronto until after Summer League. So that's when we'll see him here. All right, let's keep moving with the dumpster fire rankings. We're at number 19 on the rankings, and I'm putting the Detroit Pistons here. This is the turning point. This is a place in the franchise for the Detroit Pistons where they can finally get over the hump and be a playoff team again. That this team that they have assembled there for Dwayne Casey to coach is fantastic. Like they've got so many good young players this year, and that it's really like I said about Orlando. It's like, are they going to be good enough to be in the playoffs? Then I will keep them out of the negative dumpster fire end of the power rankings. That if they're going to elevate themselves and be a real Eastern Conference playoff team this year, Detroit, then that's the thing. So I put them in the neutral zone for right now. They could go either way. They could be a losing team again this season, or they could be a playoff team this year, which I think it's more likely they're going to be a playoff team this year, the Detroit Pistons. So that's why I have them ranked a little bit lower on the dumpster fire power rankings than they have been in history at times in the past 10 years. They've been very high on the dumpster fire rankings, but they've kind of cooled off, and they're down a little lower now, and they have the chance to jump into functionality. Number 20 on my dumpster fire list is the New Orleans Pelicans. The part of the reason why I put them in the neutral zone and not in the functional zone, because I really do think their team building very smart there, is Zion Williamson. That he is a certain level toxic about him for how he's not played, his weight, his distractions from the team, stuff like that. I know they just reinvested in him and gave him a huge contract. And like in some ways, I don't totally agree with that myself. Like I think that in some ways he's kind of a bust on the down low. That there's some things about his character and how his first couple of years in the league have gone that show he's kind of like a bust. And I don't think it was smart of the Pelicans to invest so much money in him just in the last couple of days. That he's the biggest problem with the Pelicans. Honestly, I think that if they just traded him and tried to get good assets for him, that would be better for them. That Ingram and McCollum and Jonas Valanciunas, that's a great core around already. And that maybe they need to go with them and take the focus off Zion Williamson. So that's why I have them there. But they have the opportunity to fall into a good place if they do have a good year and everything works out for them. Zion could work out for them. But to me, I don't think he will, just because the signs are pointing to that for me and stuff like that. So, all right, we're getting to the last 10 teams are really positive level of no dumpster fire. They're functional. I have two different categories. I have positive level and I have optimal level. And the positive level means that the team is working really well. It's healthy, that they're making good moves, that they're doing good team building. And, I haven't said the Boston Celtics, so you can understand that I begrudgingly put them in this category, even though I wanted to put them way higher in the dumpster fire power rank, because they're actually being run very well right now. And that's too bad, because I wanted to be fair to them and stuff like that. But number 21 is the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks were in that neutral level of like, I don't know if they're doing well or not recently. And, getting rid of Lloyd Pierce as their coach and bringing in McMillan helped with their problems. And then now this DeJounte Murray move has made me really feel like the Hawks know what they're doing. And that this is good. And that's why I'm putting them in a positive level with the dumpster fire things. The Hawks are moving in the right direction. So they're number 21. Let's see. And then number 22 to me is the Celtics. This is where I put the Celtics. And the Celtics had some dumpster fire in them with Danny Ainge and the way that they ended that season with Danny Ainge leaving and Brad Stevens moving up to GM and them hiring Emma Doka last season. They were dumpster fire last summer, but they fixed a lot of things this past year. And they're doing pretty good. Now, the down low thing that's going on with the Celtics that makes them a dumpster fire that can explode at any given time is the rivalry between Tatum and Brown. That this has been there for a while, and everybody says this is not an issue. But honestly, this has got to be an issue. That Brown has got to feel slighted at times in different ways by the Celtics fans, by the NBA media for how much Tatum is celebrated, whereas Brown is probably better than him. In my opinion, he is. So that's part of the toxicity that could develop there, but they're getting along. Things seem to seem fine. They're making kind of good deals and moves this offseason. So, Boston, I wish I could say they're a dumpster fire, but they're not. They're very functional. Brad Stevens running the team is better than Danny Ainge, and they have a good coach now too. So there's a lot of good things happening in Boston. As begrudgingly as I want to not say that, I have to say that there are good things happening there. And they're number 21 on the dumpster fire power rankings, or 22. Number 23 is the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets has been run pretty well the last couple of years. They have Jokic, that's something else, but they're still kind of this team that just gets to a certain point and they never get further. And that's a little scary for them. Like they have to do a little bit of soul searching and say, what do we need to jump to the next level in the Western Conference? What is it we're missing? We play really well in the regular season. We have Jokic, maybe the best player in the league. What is going on with us? Why are we not better? And that's really kind of the weird soul searching, like imposter syndrome of the Denver Nuggets right now, is that they need to figure out how to get to the next level because they've kind of been stuck at that same place in the Western Conference year after year. And it's not really that they have a lot of dysfunction in their franchise. It's just that they kind of seem like their wheels are stuck in the mud. Is that kind of thing, stuff like that. Seymour says KCP is a great addition for the Nuggets. We'll have to see if he can consistently hit shots for them and stuff like that. Maybe it could be something like what Dallas did with Dinwiddie last season. Dinwiddie ended up coming in and really helping them with certain things. And Seymour says that KCP is better than Barton. He thinks he's better than Will Barton. Okay. Well, that's interesting, stuff like that. And Monique saying Jay Triano is in Sacramento now. Okay, so he must be maybe one of the new assistant coaches for Mike Brown and his new coaching staff there and stuff like that. All right, next team on the list is the Chicago Bulls, number 24 on my dumpster fire rankings. They've actually, the history of the Bulls since Jordan and Pippen and the championships in the 90s was really bad. They were dumpster fire for a long time in the 2000s, 2010s. But they've kind of pulled themselves out of being a dumpster fire more recently by having guys like Zach LaVine, Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan. Part of it is the Jerrys are gone. There's no Jerry Reinsdorf. There's no Jerry Krause. The dumpster fire of the old Bulls, even when they were winning with these guys, the Jerrys, was such a crazy dumpster fire. Like Chicago had a dumpster fire during their championships because of Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf fighting with each other all the time, stuff like that. So Chicago has a history of being a dumpster fire, but they're not right now. They're very functional. They're making good decisions with their team building. And I think that they're on their way to continuing to contend and be something pretty good in the Eastern Conference. DeMar DeRozan, you go, and stuff like that. So, all right, number 25 on my dumpster fire list. These are teams that are pretty functional and doing well. Cleveland Cavaliers. As much as I hate to say this too, because I hate the Cavs. I don't want the Cavs to be good, but they're actually being run very well right now. Like they're building something there that is dangerous. The Tower City is a real dangerous thing, and that Evan Mobley showing up and doing what he did to help them is making them very dangerous in the near future. So Cleveland, you actually have a functional, good team right now. This is a team that's also been a dumpster fire a lot of different times in its history in the last couple decades. So Cleveland, good job. You either had LeBron, you're winning championships, or you've been absolute shit. But now you're actually looking pretty good right now, and you're heading in the right direction. So begrudgingly, I give you a pretty good ranking on the dumpster fire power rankings. Now we're moving into the last five, the top 5 teams in the league as far as like not being dumpster fires. These are teams that really take care of their players, really have a good atmosphere and environment on their team. They have a lot of good added bonuses that make them very attractive, and they're just well run. And these are teams that have won championships in the last few years and stuff like that. So the first one in the list, number 26, is the Dallas Mavericks. And the reason why I put the Dallas Mavericks in the optimal level of not being a dumpster fire is specifically Mark Cuban. And Mark Cuban is an owner that really cares about his team. He's hands-on. He gets all the best things for the Mavs, and he really cares about that team being good. So he's constantly striving to make that team better by roster moves and making smart ones. And he has Luka Doncic, and he just needs to add some stuff around him. Stuff like that. Mark Cuban is a great owner, and he does a really good job running the Dallas Mavericks, in my opinion. So I put Dallas at this point because they're on a springboard. They won a championship, with Dirk like 10, 12 years ago or something like that. That's fantastic, 15 years ago. But they have the ability to possibly jump up and get another championship with Luka in the years to come. And that the optimal level of not being a dumpster fire is like, I call it the springboard level, the level where your franchise is so well run and has no problems, problems with players, no problems with a bad coach, no problems with a bad front office, bad owner, any of that kind of stuff, that everything is optimal. and that it becomes a springboard for your team to actually excel better. Is that like that's the thing? If your organization can be that good and that well run, you can actually be a springboard for your team to be even better because of all that. And that's what I'm saying. There's no distractions and there's so much positivity around it that your team wins more because of how healthy and non dumpster fire your team is. So that's why I say Dallas is the first one on those five. And the next one is the Memphis Grizzlies. I really like what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing right now. They have some really crazy good young talent. It doesn't hurt that they have a new owner that is willing to open up the pocketbooks. There's a lot of good things cooking in Memphis. That they have a really good functional franchise at this point. So very interesting stuff that Memphis is in this top five at this point. And it really is from last year and the emergence of how much of a power they were in the Western Conference last year. So Memphis, you're at number 27. Number 28 is the Milwaukee Bucks. This is another franchise that is running really, really well. And you can see it by keeping Giannis, keeping that consistency. You know, they have some good players around them. Just a really good top of the league kind of franchise, the Milwaukee Bucks. So that's why I put them third overall at the bottom, away from the top. They're at the third best out of everybody and stuff like that. Number two, number 29 on the dumpster fire rankings. You want to be low on this rankings is the Golden State Warriors. And obviously we got to say Golden State is one of the top teams in the league. They have one of the best organizations, run so well. They just won the championship and stuff like that. So yeah, I put Golden State second to us. And yes, we are number one. We're number 30 on the dumpster fire rankings. I had to put us all the way down there. Because listen, we have all the things that I just talked about as far as a springboard to help our team succeed without any distractions in a negative way. We're really good about keeping things in house. None of our players are knuckleheads out there causing problems. We have a really good coach. We have an amazing front office that has just shown once again that they are really badasses this offseason. And we have a great owner who's willing to spend money. We have a great building. We have a great staff. We have one of the best health staffs. We have one of the best training facilities. This is all the springboard as an organization in a positive environment and a good place for young players like Scotty Barnes to lift themselves up and be the best potential that they can be as far as young players. That there's no distractions with this other crap with different things from other teams. So that's why I put us number one, number 30 in the inverse on the dumpster fire power rankings. And the Golden State is number 2, Milwaukee's number 3. So there you go. There's my dumpster fire power rankings, y'all. I just did this because I was inspired from talking this past week. Who are really the most toxic and messed up franchises in the league right now? And if you want, I'll run through them one more time real quick. Let's see. I want to see what you guys are saying just while I was just talking. Tom Duke saying Otto wasn't that liked in Chicago. He had a big contract there, so easy to underperform. I didn't realize that he wasn't like there. I mean, he's the kind of player that I guess if you're paying him too much, he probably had the Tobias Harris feel to him on a bigger contract. I think we got him on a really good money contract this year, though. Seymour saying we have a ton of wings. Where does Otto fit with our group? Starters, 6-man, or bench filler? Well, Seymour, the way I was describing it the last couple of days is we have different flavors of wings coming off the bench. It's like you can go get the menu at Wingstop and say, okay, we got a Parmesan, we got teriyaki, we got hot, we got barbecue, we got it's just different flavors of wings as far as like these are all 6'7" to 6'9" guys that are going to be our bench now. That's basically what our bench is going to be this year. I don't see Malachi getting a lot of time in the rotation. Hopefully, I'm hoping he doesn't because that'll mean we're very positionless. That other than Fred, we're just going to sub in power forward centers and switch around the point guard to like Pascal and Scotty when Fred's not in there. So it's going to be Otto's going to get time similar to kind of like what Kem and Precious and Chris and Thad did last year. That he'll just be another one of these dudes that kind of fills in whatever Nick Nurse's whims are for the game situation. That it could be that Otto does play more just because he allows a skill set that we need desperately as far as shooting threes, spacing the floor, just needing more offense off the bench like we did at times last season. So that's the kind of thing I look at it is that we're going to have all these 6'7" guys, all of them will come off the bench and then it'll be really what Nick sees for the situation. That if he needs somebody who's a better like low post defensive seal, Cam Birch. If he needs a rim protector and a shot blocker and somebody that can come out and maybe be something different that we didn't have last year, Christian Coloco. If he wants that crazy energy and hitting the boards and just being all over the place and doing stuff, Chris Boucher. If he needs some veteran to come in and calm things down, kind of like settle things and just kind of make smart plays, Thad Young. So it's like he's got different flavors of wings that he can go put out there. Delano Banton's a whole other different kind of wing that he can put out there in that kind of way. So that I hope I answer your question. And it's kind of just really they're going to be different role players and different kind of. I see them all very equal. Maybe Precious is a little bit more like this real six man out of all of them because he may be eating up more of the minutes out of all those bench guys. But I see like Otto getting equal minutes to like Thad, Chris, and Coloco, people like that. They'll all be around the same. And because there's so many of them, we should be able to get enough rest for the overused starters like Fred, Pascal, OG, Scotty. Those guys should not be playing around 40 minutes a game because we have so many of these good guys that can come off the bench and they're capable this time. This is the thing. That's the difference. We have a capable bench this year compared to last year. We didn't have capable guys coming off the bench. And that's it right there. Let's see. Seymour saying Joe Ingles going to be going to the Bucks is clutch. He kept Jazz afloat with D. Mitch, good pickup. Bucks, although I hate him. Yeah. Joe Ingles is really an underrated, weird kind of player in this league because he is really kind of an Australian kind of player the way he plays, but it fits in the NBA in a way that it's kind of gives something really interesting to the team he's on. And that I really did feel like he was such a spirit for the Utah Jazz team that he kind of is the signifier of the crumbling of their team into being a dumpster fire this summer. And that is interesting. Yeah, he's going to hurt us on Milwaukee in some ways. I have a feeling, but hopefully we can just dominate Milwaukee Bucks still anyway. So we'll have to see. Monique saying, how do you see Nick Nurse coming tomorrow? Lex, I think that they'll do the same thing, a lot of the same things he did on Friday against Dominican Republic. Just have a really good sound defense, really use your NBA guys on offense. Let SGA just have fun. Just let him go out there and have fun. There's a joy that was in his game, the way he played on Friday night, that was badass in Hamilton. I love it. Seymour's loving what I'm saying about the wing flavors. Would you bring back Ibaka for 1 year, or does that interfere with Coloco's growth? Like I said, I keep saying, guys, I don't want to get any more players. I feel like we have so many players right now. It's like if we got Ellington or if we got Ibaka right now, it's like there's too many. Like we have to cut people at this point. Like we're going to have to cut everybody from the bench last year. Like I don't see any of them making this team with all these new additions and stuff like that. Like whether it's Fee, whether it's, Yuta, I don't even think Justin will make this team, guys. I don't think Justin Champagny will make this team just because these new guys that are coming in are top level and they're really good. And I want to see Ron Harper Jr. get a clear path to get on this team. Seriously, but there's just not a lot of room. So as fun as it would be to have Ibaka around just for fun, I think that it would just take away a spot on our roster. And he's kind of not needed because we've got that. That is really kind of what Ibaka would be. And a Coloco, that and Coloco are kind of Ibaka at some point, like for the veteran, and then the blocks and the stuff from Coloco. So Tom Duke saying, I see Nick Nurse changing, subbing all 5 starters out and putting in a scary long arm monster bench lineup. Yeah. Last year he was doing this thing where he'd bring in all 3 Canadian Bs. It was Banton, Birch, and Boucher would come in all together as a 3-headed Canadian monster. And I love that. I love that substitution because it's such a different look. But I don't ever agree with hockey changes. Like when I don't want us to change all 5 guys all at once. You want to have some cohesion between teams, and you got to leave a couple of dudes out there with 3 guys come in. 3 guys come in, that's the most. You don't want to bring 4 in. That's too many because you want to have a couple of guys that are already acclimated to the pace of the game, and that wholesale hockey changes of lineups are not good in basketball. I've never agreed with them. There were some coaches back in the day I used to watch, and they would just solely substitute complete 5-man squads in and out. And I'm like, why are you doing this? This is really bad. Like for flow of the game and keeping kind of a pace on the game. You're absolutely, it's almost like you're starting the game completely over each time you put in a fresh 5 that hasn't even been on the court. So I don't agree with that kind of subbing. But I like the idea of like three of them coming in all at once and making it really scary at all of a sudden. Maybe you keep Pascal and Scotty out there, and you bring in like Boucher and Otto Porter and Precious. You bring them in all of a sudden, and it's like Pascal and Scotty are running the point, and you've got Precious and at center, and Otto Porter and Boucher are kind of on the sides. That's a crazy, crazy like thing right there. All right, let's see what else. Monique's saying good to see Delano working on his shooting lately. Something to watch for next season. Yeah, Delano's in Beverly Hills also. Like these guys have been traveling a lot. He's been all over the place. Delano's in Toronto for a bit. He's in Miami. Now we're seeing him in California right now. Steve Ed's here. Good to see a new name. 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single morning. Live streaming, talking about the Raptors, baby. So if you love the Raptors and you want to talk about it in the offseason every single day, this is your place to be. 9:30 a.m. Steve's saying Otto Porter Jr. is 2 years for $5.5 million. That is a steal. If this is accurate and true, and it sounds like it could be, holy crap, we're paying him what? Like 2.7 million a year. This is insane. Wow, Steve Ed, way to come in with a bearer of good news. We don't shoot the messenger here. We applaud him and thank him for the information. Tom Duke saying, I agree. Just saying Nick Nurse lives outside the norm, like changing up his MO. Great deal. That's great money. Honestly, that's insane, Steve. If that's actually true, that's way less than I thought we were paying him, because that doesn't actually make total sense. Because part of the reason why Golden State didn't retain him is they were just offering him the veteran minimum to retain him, and he said, "I want to make a little bit more and go somewhere else." So I don't know. I want to believe you, and I hope you're right, but I'll have to see and confirm it. But because I had heard something different, that like I had heard that he was going to make like 7 million a year or something like that. But maybe I'm completely wrong. There hasn't really been a full like disclosure of the Otto Porter Jr. deal. I'll have to see for sure. But man, that is a steal if that is accurate. Holy crap. All right, just real quick, guys. I want to go through my dumpster fire rankings, just real quick, rapid fire in the last 5 minutes of my stream here. I'm going to be done after an hour. Number one on my dumpster fire rankings is the LA Lakers. They get this for last season, really. They could be better this year, depending on how they do with what they do with Kyrie and Russell Westbrook and Davis and all this stuff. Whatever they do and move it around, there's still a dumpster fire on the down low as far as an organization. So number one is the Lakers. Number two is the Nets. It's obvious. Come on, you can see why the Nets are a dumpster fire right now. Everybody's trying to leave. What's going to happen when Kevin and Kyrie leave, and who's going to be there at that point? Is it going to be Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook playing together in Brooklyn? Will that be absolutely hilarious? If that is the situation for Brooklyn this season, it'll be so funny. New York Knicks, number three. That's kind of a lifetime achievement award on being the dumpster fire rankings. They could get better, but I doubt it. Honestly, who has any faith in the Knicks to get better next season? Charlotte Hornets, Johnny come lately, at number four on the dumpster fire rankings. And this really is because of their wild, off the chain, crazy ass offseason with all these arrests and coach not wanting to come and coach them and different things that are going on with Charlotte. So they're number four right now. Number five is the Kings, and that's kind of like the Knicks. They kind of get it for a body of work over years. Six is the Jazz because they're tanking and trying to they're going to be really bad. They're sewering themselves on purpose. So that's a dumpster fire in itself. The Spurs are also doing the same thing. So they're number seven. Number eight is the Phoenix Suns. The Ayton situation is horrible. The front office situation is horrible. That's why I put them so high on the dumpster fire rankings. Portland Trailblazers, number nine. They have problems in their front office. They don't really have any kind of guidance or like way they're doing things with their moves right now in the last year. So I put them at number nine as a dumpster fire. Number 10 is the Washington Wizards. They had a really bad core last year. It got all messed up. They thought they were going to be so good, and they were garbage. And their team has some problems in their front office also. So they're number 10. Number 11, young team, Houston Rockets, could get better, but they've lost a lot in the last couple of years. So they're number 11. Number 12, Oklahoma City Thunder, similar thing. They've lost a lot. They have some young players. They could get better. Number 13, Philadelphia 76ers. This is really because of James Harden's presence, also this aftermath of the Ben Simmons kind of stuff from last year. Daryl Morey being in charge is always a little worrisome. Doc Rivers is their coach. There's a couple of things with the Sixers that they could move into a neutral or positive level of dumpster fire, but they still have a little bit of a negative level of dumpster fire in their team that they need to work out. But James Harden could exercise that by being a good citizen this year. And that could make things a little bit better for them as being a dumpster fire. Indiana Pacers, number 14. It's really that they just are going to be bad. Not really that they have a lot of dysfunction. The Clippers have dysfunction. They're number 15. But they could be really good as a team this year, and that could change things as far as where they are in the rankings. Minnesota Timberwolves, number 16. Like I said, they're in the middle. They're on the precipice of falling into being a dumpster fire if the Gobert trade does not work out. Orlando Magic, number 17. They're a young team. They could be better. They've lost a lot in the last couple of years. They could be better this year, so that's why I have them a little bit lower because I see them in Detroit as having better chances of climbing out of being a non-playoff team than Oklahoma City and Houston, that those teams probably will have a harder time. But Orlando and Detroit might be better. Miami could go either way. I think that they're a dumpster fire secretly, that they're not really letting us know that they're a dumpster fire, but they really are on the down low. And this has to do with the Pat Riley, Kyle Lowry stuff. This has to do with the Eric Spoelstra fighting with Jimmy Butler and the timeout stuff. Udonis Haslem leaves the team. There's a little bit of flux going on with Miami that's a little mysterious and not totally healthy, is what I'll say. Number 19, Detroit Pistons. They're a young team. They've been really bad for years, but they're actually getting their act together, and they could be pretty good this season. So they have to be dangerous. They could jump into the positive level real fast this year. New Orleans Pelicans, number 20, and that's really mostly because of Zion Williamson. If his situation got more figured out, he showed up and he actually was contributing, I'd feel better about them. And then the top 10, the best teams that don't have dumpster fires are as such. Number 21, Atlanta Hawks. They just moved into this area because they're actually showing some promise. Boston Celtics, number 22. There's an underlying thing with Brown and Tatum that I think is still there. That's still going to be an issue at different times. 23, Denver Nuggets. They're just kind of caught spinning their wheels. They should be better in the West over time, but they haven't really gotten better and better, but they're still fairly well run. Number 24, Chicago Bulls. They're heading in the right direction after a bad front office for years. Cleveland, similar to Chicago, they've had a bad front office at different times, but they're actually moving the right direction with the right moves. Number 26, these are really good teams in the league right now. Dallas Mavericks, number 27, Memphis Grizzlies, number 28, Milwaukee Bucks, number 29, Golden State Warriors, and then number 30, of course, the last team on the dumpster fire power rankings, the Toronto Raptors. There you go, guys. That is my dumpster fire power rankings. And I went over each one earlier in this live stream. If you want a more detailed reasoning for why I put them there, if you disagree with any of it, go ahead and put it in the comments and just tell me where you think that a certain team is that on my rankings that you don't like where it is and you think it could be in a better place. In fact, I might just post the rankings up so you guys can see them all on in the comments, so you can actually see them and look at them yourself. Where is that? I'm going to try and do that. You know what? I'm not going to try and do that while I'm online. All right, guys, let me just see what the rest of your comments are here real quick, and then we'll close it out for the day. Tom Duke saying Knicks at third, actually a lifetime achievement award. Yeah, I mean, I have to give it to the Knicks. They're the epitome of a NBA dumpster fire, and they just have been for a long, long time. And I don't see like they trick us. You think they're putting that fire out and they're finally getting good things going, but then it lights right back up and then it flames all of a sudden again. Because like last season, it looked like they were going good at the beginning of the year, and then that fire started right back up by the end of the year for sure. Lolita is here. Good to see Lolita. Imagine the Raptors bench mob next season. The boys are growing up together and will be scary for the next few years. I'm dreaming about the next parade already. Yes, Lolita, I see it too. Otto Porter Jr. is going to be a part of another championship with the Raptors, and I have a really strong feeling about that. Yeah, the bench mob is going to be like, I don't even know if we can call it a bench mob. I think we should call it the wing mob. That maybe this season we're going to have the wing mob coming off the bench. It's a new evolution of the bench mob from before. It's the wing mob. It's like a bench mob, but it's all big wings that come off the bench and do what, like I was explaining to Seymour earlier about what I see the bench looking like this season is that, Malachi may not get a lot of time this year at all. and that it may really be heavy with these guys that are like all really tall. And that means a lot of positionless ball when Fred's not in the game. So Monique agrees with Lolita. Sue agrees the bench will be really good next season also. Yeah. And Rahul's saying the Raps should sign Avery Bradley. Now that's a point guard. We don't want a little guy. Come on, Rahul. We're staying big. It's all about the wings. We're a wing team. We're the total wings. We're wild wings. We're winging. We're winging it. We're winging it to win it, and we're gonna win it. I believe it. Wings mob. It is the wings mob. Yeah, I don't know why. It just seems like, I mean, I was eating wings last Wednesday, and now everything's all about the wings. Seymour saying I'm okay with Flynn not getting a lot of minutes. His dad might not be. Seymour's hilarious. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is the kind of thing where it's like Malachi could end up being like a emergency point guard backup if we need another small. Like we had that a couple times this season where Fred was hurt and we needed that kind of backup, and Malachi came in and then he got hurt, and then that's why we went and got Armani Brooks. So if Fred is hurt or something, God forbid, we don't want him hurt or anything like that, then Malachi may actually get time. But otherwise, I don't really want him to play that much. Like it's only if Fred gets hurt and we need that look for certain reasons. Otherwise, I don't want to see him out there. And honestly, I don't think Armani Brooks is going to be on the team next year either, guys. Like seriously, there's no room for these dudes. And he's not guaranteed. I think anybody who's not guaranteed with the Raptors right now and had not gotten signed, and this is Yuta, this is Armani, this is Justin, this is David Johnson, they should all be worried about their spot on the Raptors this season. That they're going to have to try and make it on in summer league and in training camp, and that it may be that they find that they're cut, that they're like the Ish Wainwright and the Sam Decker this year. It's like Justin Champagny and Armani Brooks, stuff like that. So because it'll be very interesting. Jimmy Pub saying a decent backup point guard would help. How about Scotty Barnes, Jimmy? Do we really need a backup point guard? Let's just make Scotty that guy. Scotty and Pascal, Fred, Scotty, Pascal, Delano, Malachi. You know, that's like 5 point guards right there already on our team. We don't need the backup point guard, in my opinion. And we don't need another short guy. That's for sure. I really like the height on our team. Look at the average height overall. It's crazy. Rahul saying, I think the Raps might get into 3 or 4 team trades to get acquire Ayton. I don't want Ayton at this point. We got Koloko. Koloko is really a lot like Ayton. In some ways, they're a very similar player. And in some ways, we want to develop our own Ayton, an Ayton that's at a lower draft pick that we can pay less for time, and he could still be just as effective and play just as well as Ayton in some ways. So that's the thing. Like, and Ayton's stock has really dropped. Like he's in trouble in some ways. Like a lot of people that they're shopping him, and a lot of people don't want DeAndre Ayton. That's part of the problem right here. Like they're trying to get all these misfit pieces in the league, like Durant and Irving and Westbrook and Ayton and stuff, sorted out and moved into the different places where it fits better for them because they're in problems where they are. And that maybe people don't really like have any plans to get Ayton or have him in our team. I don't want Ayton at this point. I think that he would hurt our team. And that I'm really, really happy with the Raptors. If we're not going to get Kevin Durant, I don't want to do any more deals. The Durant is the only one that I kind of am interested in possibly getting on our team because this could be huge. But Ayton, I don't really want him at this point. He's kind of in the same pile as Gobert was for me last week. Is that it's just somebody we don't want Ayton at this point, as far as I'm concerned. If you guys want him, that's fine. It's different. Rahul said Toronto wins either way if we're in the sweepstakes for KD. Yeah, we're gonna win either way. We either don't get him or we do, and we'll see. If we do get him, it's going to be like somebody has said that if we're going to get him, we want to do the reverse of the Vince Carter trade with New Jersey way back. That you guys are going to send us Kevin Durant, and we're going to send you Aaron Williams and Eric Williams and Alonzo Mourning, that kind of a garbage deal going to the Nets, and we can get Kevin Durant back. That it's only fair, and that's the bookends from the horrible Nets deal we did with Vince Carter 15, 16, 17 years ago, something like that. So, all right, let's see. Monique's with Seymour at 100%. Rahul's saying the Raps have all the leverage. We really, truly do. Seymour saying Achua's shot might be a bit better, too. Going to be an awesome season. Yeah, I think Precious is going to have a leap and a bound. Scotty's going to have a leap and a bound. Gary could have a leap and a bound. OG, these guys are going to have leaps and bounds this season, some of them. So, and Monique's saying, hell no to Aiden. I'm with her. I'm with her on this. We don't want to pay the price. We don't want to shuffle guys around. We're good where we are. If it's not Kevin, we don't want it. It's basically what I'm going to say right now. We should be okay with trying to get Kevin, but it has to be the right deal. And Scotty cannot be involved in it. He cannot be involved in it. Sue's saying, yeah, we probably only have 2 spots on main roster open, really, and one two-way if Ron Harper takes the other spot. Tight for all our guys from their bench last year. It's really tight for them. And in a way, this is good because we're going to squeeze them out with competition, better talent, better upgrades at the bench. And that's what we wanted. It's just that these upgrades came in different weird ways, like Otto Porter Jr., a drafting of Coloco, getting Ron Harper Jr. These are upgrades that are coming in. And that these other guys that were on our team last year that had roster spots, well, they just aren't good enough to make this version of the Raptors team that's coming up this season and stuff like that. So let's see. Aiton's killer instinct is an issue. This is what G's saying. Yeah, if he didn't try for the Phoenix Suns, who were the best team record-wise last season in the playoffs and really crucial crunch times, if he gave up on the Phoenix Suns and Monty Williams yelled at him for it, then that's a problem. And that you have to question his heart and maybe his dedication to winning and being in the league. It could be he's just a really big talented guy and he's coasted this far, but when the chips are really down, how does he react to when he really, really needs to put in a new gear to win against somebody who's really got a will against him? Maybe he doesn't have that will. That could be part of the problem. Sue's saying, and I'm not even including Svi on the main roster spot. That's the thing. I think Svi's going to get bought out. I don't think that he's going to be on the team. He may have taken his player option, but we can pay him a small part of his contract and he'll go away and we'll just be able to use his spot. And I think that's really likely because I don't even think we have the time to waste to give him a tryout and see if he's going to be any good next season. That's what I was thinking initially, that if we hadn't acquired so many players and he was still on the team and stuff like that, that like he would get a chance to try out and make the team this year and still be on the team and be chances to try and get better and play and be a contributor. But I don't think that's even going to happen. There's not enough room on the team for him for us to allow for him to do that. So that sucks, but that's just how it is. It's the business and stuff like that. So let's see. Tom's saying, do you think we are done? Perhaps just some sorting out for the last couple spots. Brooks, Yuta, Champagny, Svi, all competing with the new players that will be playing in Summer League. Yeah, I think that's tough. Like there's too many guys and not enough spots. That's just what I'm saying. That we know we've named the guys that are at least for 12 deep, and Coloco and Banton are 11 and 12, and the rest of them are all rotation guys that are going to be on the team for sure. That means there's only 3 spots left, and that would be like Ron Harper Jr. And then there's going to be 2 other guys from the whole rest of them, and it's really going to be for them to fight it out and see who it's going to be, whether it's going to be Svi, Armani, Justin Champagny. It's going to be really up to them to fight it out. Lolita saying Raptors Superman MO. I agree. Ayton is trouble. Ego. Yeah, I don't think we want any of the unknowns, any of the kind of problems that could be problems. And especially with somebody who's so tied up with a big, like they're going to have a big contract and they're going to be really important. And once again, we don't even know if centers are important in this league anymore. So why invest so much like Minnesota in the center? Seymour saying, is Svi in? I thought he opted out. No, he's opted in. He opted and took his player option. He took his money that we're supposed to give him. It was his choice. And now it's up to us whether we want to commit the roster spot to him or buy him out. And there's a very high chance we're going to buy him out. Jimmy Pope saying Rap's going to be scary. I really wanted Jalen Smith. Yeah, he re-signed with Indiana, right? Yeah, something like that. Monique is or Seymour saying something to the super fan. Curtis is here. Good to see Curtis. Haven't seen you a bit. Do you think the Raptors will win 50 or more games this season? I hope so. I think that's a really gettable goal. I mean, how many did we get last year? We got 48. We're 2 away from getting 50. And a lot of some of the games we lost last year were because of dumb things like COVID and missing injuries, last second shots where we lost by 1 point, stupid shit like that. So if we clean it up just a little bit, why wouldn't we get at least 50 wins? I mean, some people have joked, why don't we go get 60 and just be really dominant in the East this year? and stuff like that. I say, why not? We just want to win night in, night out. We'll do this. And if we have a good team that dominates and stuff like that, yeah, I could see this and stuff like that. So, Curtis, I like this. I would say we will. I'll take the over on that we're going to get 50 wins or more next season. I said it right now, and I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll say it again when do my preseason stuff, talking about the Raptors this year. I'm going to say we're going to get at least 50 wins, and we'll be a top 4 team in the East. That's what I'll say right now. Lolita's saying typo. Sorry, typo. Super fan. Raptors super fan. Mo. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on there. You saw the news on Jalen Smith yesterday. Monique saw it. 50 plus wins is what Monique thinks. Seymour saying Svi is a keeper. He's a great shooter. And he fits our squad. Feels like family. Yeah, I like him. I want him. He fits, sure, but he just didn't do enough. Like he failed too much last season, and there's no guarantee you get more chances. That's the part of the problem, that he needed to prove it while he had the chance. And he may not get the right kind of chances to prove it now. And we can't have him just sit around and waste a spot for a season like he did last year. We do need good players, and that's our big detriment was our bench. We had to overplay our guys for too much, and we were hurt against Philadelphia. And that is part of it. Like we need these guys that are dependable, like Otto Porter Jr. and Thad Young and Precious and guys like that coming off our bench and doing stuff like that. And there wouldn't be no minutes for him. So I don't know. We're going to just have to see how Bobby works it out. It could be this fee is on the team, that he just is, because he's already under contract. They don't feel like buying him out, and they just want him around. And it could be that him and Malachi are the two guys at the very end of the bench that barely ever get played. See, Malachi is involved in this too. Like I didn't even count him into the 12s. Like Malachi's like the 13th person, 14th person, Ron Harper. That means there's only really one spot on the 15-man roster for anybody else. That's what I'm saying. It's really clear who's going to make the team in the top 13, and then those last 2 spots are, they're dubious, but they're very highly competitive. So that's going to be the difference. Jimmy Pope saying we definitely could get to 50 wins. So he agrees too. I think so too, guys. All right. Thanks for coming here and checking out my dumpster fire power rankings. I just feel like ESPN's always power ranking stuff. Like they power ranked us recently at number 15 overall in the league. I think that's a little disrespectful, but what they did was basically they don't know if we're going to go one way or the other. They really should know by now that we're going to be a top team and that we're going to be very dangerous and we're going to be badass. But they still slight us and put us right in the middle of the pack. You should have put us in the top 10, ESPN. And that's why I made an ESPN dumpster fire rankings, power rankings, because I want to point out that part of maybe the more important thing in this league is how healthy your organization is. How toxic is it? Do you have problems with players? Do you have problems with the front office? Do you have problems with your coach? Do you have problems with your ownership? That is what I'm talking about with the NBA dumpster fire power rankings. And I hope you enjoyed this today, and maybe you agree with some of my rankings, and check them out. And if you have any discussion or want to say anything about them, just please put them in the comments also after I get out of here and stuff like that. So go, Ron, go. Jimmy saying, peace out, Alexi. Rank Scrub saying, I hope that the Raptors can have an actual tryout where the best bench players are put on the team. If that is a Brian Tyree and Kevon Harris over Svi and Yuta, then we have to be ready to decide. Yeah, some of those 905 guys are really good. Kevon Harris is a fantastic player, but there's some things on him, like it's a size thing with him. Like he's not necessarily the right kind of size to be in the NBA. He's a really good player and can play in the G League, but it just may be that he just misses that cut and stuff like that. Seymour saying 32-49, France over Canada. Let's go Canada. Wow, that's not good. Get it going, Canada. Is Leonard Miller playing in that game? I don't know. Thanks, Monique. Always awesome to see you too. Tomorrow, Monday Memory. I'm not sure which game I'll be doing. It'll be something from last season. A great memory about one of the games from last season for tomorrow on the Monday Memories. And then, of course, Tuesday Trivia as usual. You know the schedule here on the Raptorfreak channel. We do it a certain way every day. And you can come in and be dependable 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every single day. All right, y'all. Thanks again. Please hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed the Dumpster Fire Power Rankings. Let's go, Raptors. Yeah, baby. Woo!